Another day, another disturbing game I find while doom-scrolling Instagram, right? This game is super surreal, and it reminds me a lot of mouthwashing, and in addition to that, there is a very horrifying message. It's a Russian game made by the Bober brothers. It is a terrifying and esoteric message, so of course you know I love that kind of stuff and I had to cover it. And it even has multiple endings, so we'll get to cover all of those too. At least while we wait for a new book review or Fear and Hunger update, which will hopefully come out soon. This game is all in Russian, but there is subtitles as well, so that makes things a little easier. This game also covers some really dark stuff, so be really careful and mind that warning I put at the beginning of the video. The game itself is only about a half hour long, so this video will be kind of short. So if you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe because it really helps me out in the algorithm and it would really help me out. I really do appreciate you all, and without going on any further with this intro, let's get into the Bober Brothers The Hole. The main menu when you first open the game is a broken mirror. A guy with his arm to his head and crying in the mirror. It doesn't take much to figure out what this is showing, but let's hit play. We are opened with a warning, which you already saw, and then the text says that this is based on the stories about his grandfather. You, Grandpa. Relatable. You wake up in an apartment and you play as this Russian guy. Clearly. I can tell because I played a lot of Counter-Strike and I can tell what Russian cursing sounds like. You can look around the apartment and find it's pretty much just a normal apartment. A little messy, if anything. There's a living room, a kitchen, a laundry room, and a hallway. Pretty normal stuff. Your objective is to get a beer. Open the fridge, and there's a bowl of cereal in it. In the freezer, however, there is beer, which I feel like beer should be in the fridge, but I don't drink, so I don't know. Get it, and then drink it, and this game will then tell you to find a tape and insert it into the tape player on your kitchen table, which if you just hit the tape player, a tape will come out and you can put it right back in. It says Bober Brothers on the name of the tape, which I assume is just a self-promo, as the character says that's the only thing that gets them through the day. Which I would say is tacky in this context, but knowing me, I would probably do the same thing if I made a game. Your next objective is to heat up cereal in the microwave and eat it. You do it and then eat it. Now, you're supposed to take out your trash. Take it out of the apartment, and you can either throw it over the railing here or put it in the trash chute. As you walk around out here, there are several posters and such that look unnerving, but not really what we are going to talk about. Now, head back to your apartment. Once you get back, your door is open. Your character will wonder if he left the door open or something, and then he goes in and you're told to watch TV on the couch. Do so and a whoopee cushion. Your character guesses that a neighbor did this. What a comedian. Fun fact, if you press the fart button 666 times, you get an achievement called Haha Classic. Now all there is to do is use your remote and turn on the TV. You can see a ton of old cartoons and TV shows, none of which really matter. Sit here for a while and drink as many beers as you can, and then you'll hear a loud drilling noise. Your character will say that he'll hang the neighbor with the cord of the drill if he keeps this up as he's watching TV. It got turned off with all the shaking of the drill. Go outside and knock on your neighbor's door and talk to him. You have some dialogue choices here, but none of them really matter because he'll always give you the same answer, saying that it's rich coming from you talking about noise, as all he hears from your place is whining. He says, deal with it, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, whatever. Go back to your living room and get to your TV. However, when you get back, a small hole has appeared on your wall. Weird. Looking through it will show you the legs of someone on the bed. On the TV nearby, a cord is going in and out of a socket over and over, followed by a glass of milk being filled up. It's not so subtle what this is implying, but we'll get to it in the analysis. Time passes and now it's a later date, but strangely, you get the same tasks, with screaming now coming from the neighbor's apartment, as well as now several other holes in the wall. There's more, and they're covered up by some black tape. Strange. Your character will say that he hears the neighbor yelling again. So, I guess this is a common occurrence. Looking through the hole again, you can see what appears to be some domestic abuse happening. With nothing to do, go do your same tasks. Drink beer, eat cereal, take out trash. Talking to the neighbor again, he will say that you can do whatever you want. He's not going to stop being loud, and go ahead and call the cops. They won't do anything if they're called. So go ahead. He'll slam the door in your face. Your character will pretty much call him an asshole and go back to sit down and watch TV again. Only another drill noise will cause the TV to mess up yet again. But now the screaming is replaced by crying. Looking through the hole again, you'll see nothing. The doorbell will ring and you can go answer it. It's a little girl. She said she's the next door neighbor's little girl, and she wants to play hide and seek. She says you're really good at hiding, so this is fun. Also, her father is currently drunk and her mother is taking a nap. She says it's better if she isn't around right now anyway. Her character will say, okay, and you'll be transported to this weird cross-shaped hallway. Here you are tasked with finding the little girl. You can't see her, but as you get close to any of the wings of the hallway, you will hear laughing. Or no laughing. Obviously, follow the ones that are laughing. And it will keep repeating. This is strange. Keep doing this and eventually... the hallway will be made of flesh and a weird static overlay on your screen. It reminds me of LSD Dream Emulator because it's so surreal and nightmarish, all with a mouth harp playing in the background. This is not normal. Keep going further and you'll be transported back to a normal place again. And there's now another hole here. In what appears to be a little girl's drawing of her family, with a mom, a dad, and her. Look in the hole and see, well... Now, I know what you're thinking. At first it looked like a pistachio. I'm just kidding. You know what it looks like. That's intentional. It opens up to reveal that, of course, it's an eye. And then static again. The next day, you can see even more holes have opened up, and even more holes are covered by tape. And the outside appears to be moving in your apartment. It's like your apartment building is sinking. If it wasn't clear that this is a metaphor for something, obviously this whole game has some greater meaning and it's not a normal linear narrative. What's your objective now? Drink beer, eat cereal, take out trash. Once again, after you heat up your cereal, you have to take out the trash. Only as you start doing that, your tape player is gone. And your door is open. Great. Grab your trash, and as you walk out of the room... She wants to help you take out the trash, this little girl. How nice. Let her, and she'll tell you some concerning things as you go down this strangely endless hallway. First, she'll tell you that she wasn't the one that stole your tape player, but there's a boy in this apartment that's been stealing stuff around. So it was him. The girl will then ask you if you like staying home like this all the time, and your character will say, well, yeah, it has a TV, and you have beer, so what's not to like? She then asks if beer makes you angry, like her dad. Oh. Your character will say, nah, it actually just helps him calm down. You know, unless some asshole starts making noise with a drill. Your character will then try to tell the girl a story to cheer her up. When he was her age, his father, also a drunk, forgot to pick him up from kindergarten one day. He was too drunk. Our character says that he had an accident while waiting for his dad. He probably either pissed or shit himself or something. I can relate, I have IBS. But his father finally showed up after a couple hours and got him. And then made him stand in the bathtub, covered in piss or shit, to teach him a lesson as he watched. The girl empathizes and says that's horrible. Our character says, yeah, it was, but underneath it, when his dad wasn't drinking, he wasn't so bad. At times, it almost felt like he was a real dad. The girl then says that her dad hits her when she messes up. And according to her, she messes up a lot. She then gets cut off by our character as she's saying, sometimes after he hits her, and then it cuts off. It's obvious what she's implying, and it's awful. Our character, whether it be out of not wanting to hear what she's about to say or not paying attention, says that, well, you know what they say, if they hit you, they care. Which is just really sad. The girl says that she doesn't believe that's true. And our character says that, well, that means she's just smarter than he was when he was her age. You continue down the hallway just long enough for it to be uncomfortable in silence and throw the trash out. If at any time during this journey you look behind you at the little girl, she looks more and more sad or broken as you walk. After you've finished throwing the trash out, your character will say, "You'll understand it when you're older." And static again. Back in your apartment, it's all now green and covered, and I mean covered, in beer cans. The neighbor will be at your door, now breathing down your neck with a suitcase that appears to be shaking? He says that he went to go take out the trash, but the next thing he knew, our character was screaming like a lunatic, so he looked in the apartment. Our character says that's bullshit. He's the one that's always yelling about his wife. But strangely, it stopped recently. Did he finally kill her or something? Our character says. The neighbor then just says over and over that we worked it out. He'll then leave. Another hole will appear, and if you look in it, it's another suitcase, shaking and crying. Probably not a good sign. Go to the TV room and see a light from that very first hole that was open. Your character will be confused, saying, "What is he here in that guy's apartment right now? He was just taking out the trash." Looking in, you will see under a bed. A shaking and rocking bed. Someone is having sex on the bed. Once again, that cord being plugged in and out, and then milk filling up. And then legs. Children's legs. And a child crying. It's not hard to discern what this is showing. It's truly one of the most horrible things shown or implied I've ever seen in a game. Then static again. You are now once again in your apartment. Out the window, it looks like your apartment is now free-falling. Everything is shaking, and that plug video is going on over and over in your house now. Children laugh and cry in the background, and your doorbell is ringing. It's really loud. Looking out the peephole, you see a beaver? So I don't know what this means. I have zero clue. And I will even say that when I get to the analysis. I don't know what the beaver is implying. But if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. Opening the door, you will see that it's the kid that took your tape player. The only good thing you have left. The objective humorously says, "Get this motherfucker." Just chase him through the halls. Eventually, after you chase him enough, you'll be transported to that meat dimension again. The kid will be laughing though. But you'll then be able to catch up to him. The kid will be laughing. It's just a joke. Like the whoopee cushion. The screen then turns to static, and you hear a pig squealing, until she's lying dead on the ground. Your character crying to himself that he didn't mean to do that. Agatha, the girl's name, is dead at our hands, clearly. You're then back in your apartment hallway asking, why me? You're now in a loop, PT style. You'll be in this hallway with doors and a TV at the end. You just have to keep going through it over and over. Go through a couple times until you're locked out of the next hallway. A neighbor is whistling, and you can go in and look, and you'll see something that I can't really see what it is in there. Then you can continue down the loop again. The next loop, there is a weird thing with a noise. I think it's a suitcase with an arm dragging itself around the corner. The next loop, the lights are flashing in red. The loop after that, you are once again in the meat dimension. And the next loop after that, it's completely silent, and the door is locked. Going back. obituary for Agatha. She was only 12 when she died. Looking behind you, you'll see people are staring at you. They know what you've done. Static then again. You are then transported to a very strange second-person perspective of you running away from a pair of legs chasing you. Screams are heard in the background, and you go through this, which I actually failed a couple times, and you'll get to an axe. And then you'll see your character look at it, and then swing it. And then your character is back. He has killed something else now. He then will give a monologue saying, "It wasn't him, it was her fault. She's the one who broke him. She's a monster, that bitch, it was her." He then says he knows that it was him, actually. He did it to Agatha too. She wasn't supposed to be there. It was a joke, it was a game. She was just a little girl. His little girl. They were playing a game. It was just a game. If it was his old man, he would have tore them both apart, but not him. He didn't aim for the vital organs. His baby girl is dead. Maybe one day she'll forgive him. You just can't do it anymore.
Доченька, надеюсь, ты когда-нибудь помилуешь меня. Я... Пожалуйста, так больше не могу.
Then you are back on the title screen area with that mirror. Only you realize it's you in the mirror, with a gun to your head. You have a choice to make. Taking the easy way out, you'll get ending B.
Пожалуйста, так больше не могу.
And it'll just keep resetting you. Waiting long enough with your heart beating faster and faster, your character will then just say, sorry. Sorry, 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 sorry to himself, until it's Agatha, the one that's saying it to her father, seemingly. You are then transported to a third-person perspective. This time, you're playing as Agatha, but the art style has changed to Russian Matryoshka dolls, or Russian nesting dolls. You know, the ones with little versions of themselves inside of each other. I used to have a couple of these. Agatha asks her dad to play a game, who is sitting on the couch doing nothing, where she is the princess, and he's the prince who rescues her. He says not now, but to get him a beer and he'll play later, as he just sits there and does nothing. You are now tasked with going to the fridge and getting a beer, and be careful not to drop it on the way back. He says he'll play later. Give the beer to him and his face will become unnervingly happy. Then Static and a smaller version of Agatha will pop out of the doll, and now you play as the smaller one. Agatha will then ask, why is Dad angry? He says stop stalling and get him a beer. Do the same thing, grab a beer, don't drop it, and give it to him. Now with more obstacles. After that, the same thing happens with the doll coming out and then Static. Now you are this tiny little Agatha doll. Burnt, bruised, and broken. Dad says, don't tell Mom about our little games. Agatha cries that she doesn't want to play that game anymore. She doesn't like this game. It hurts. Dad screams for a beer, and then Agatha cries out that she doesn't like this game. Dad yells again and says that he'll show her what real fear is like if she doesn't grab a beer right now. Do the same thing, and don't drop the beer. Until... her father calls her name, and she smiles. That's it. That's Bober Bros. The Whole. It isn't too hard to find out what happened here, because it's so horrible, and it is the worst thing you can think of, but I will describe the meaning and everything here and now, so it's going to be rough, so strap in. The first thing that you might notice in this story is it's not normal or linear, as in it couldn't have happened in real life, as it seems at first, because it makes no sense. There's looping hallways, it's super surreal, it doesn't really work like the normal world. It's almost like a dream, or hell, or purgatory, or something. The second thing is the neighbor and the main character. It makes too much sense that they are actually one and the same. For one, the holes are almost always in places that should look into your own apartment, and the screams end up coming from your apartment in the end, as your neighbor says. I think it makes sense that the neighbor is a metaphor. It's you, but I believe it is the drunk version of you, I believe. Or maybe it's how you see it yourself. Almost like you are two different people, although obviously you aren't. It's an excuse. Even if you feel like you're different when you're drunk, you're still you. Normally, our main character is coherent and seems to look down on the neighbor, when in actuality, it's just him. In the last day, the neighbor is literally breathing down your neck, almost as if the addiction is getting worse and the neighbor is always around more and more. You get more and more drunk, and in this drunk state, we see with the neighbor, which is the main character, domestically abuses his wife. We see this through the hole. He beats her and also sexually abuses his daughter as well as hitting her. And he even emotionally manipulates his daughter as well, as he seems almost kind at certain times. Almost like to make her think that he loves her in some horrible way to keep her attached, as she clearly loves her dad in some very sad way, which shows his emotional abuse. Even if he thinks he loves her, this isn't love. The day repeats itself over and over as well, almost like a cycle of abuse, which is something that seems to come up a lot in my videos, strangely. And also it is kind of how sexual and domestic abuse victims are horribly treated and emotionally abused to stay with their partners or their dad in this case. In the end, your character kills his wife and daughter, stuffs them into suitcases, using an emotional shield saying that his dad would have been a lot worse, when that's just an excuse. They're scared of him. He tries to justify his actions after all is said and done as well, saying that, well, he loves his daughter, it's his little girl, and his dad was much worse to him, when in actuality, he's just as bad as his dad, if not worse. And in the end, the cycle of abuse continued. He kills his daughter and his wife, and he knows what he does. And in the end, you can either take the coward's way out and kill yourself, or live with what you've done. The Matryoshka dolls show that Agatha is losing herself as her father's games go on. And in the end, she smiles some horrible smile, almost as if she's happy that her dad is calling her name. Because she thinks that deep down, maybe he loves her, when in actuality, he's just abusing her. After all of this is over, the game does give you a message about the nature of it itself. You are not alone. Violence and injustice are harsh realities for many, but that doesn't make them normal or acceptable. Silence only lets the darkness grow, so don't be afraid to speak out about what you're going through. Reach out to people you trust or seek help from professionals and organizations that can support you. This is not your fault. Ever. The actions of someone who chooses to hurt others are their responsibilities, not yours, especially if you are a child. You deserve love, safety, and respect. Do not give up. Even if it feels like there's no way out and the weight of it all is too much to bear, remember, pain is not forever. Keep going. Hold on and don't hesitate to ask for help. You are worth so much more than the pain you've endured, and there is a better future waiting for you. So that's about it for Boba Bros The Hole. A story about a horrible cycle of abuse and how silence can kill the people you love. Please heed that ending message, as it is very important, as this game is one of the most disturbing games I've ever played, and I really hope you got something out of it. But that's about it for this video. It's a very serious and scary video, and I'm glad you took the time to watch it. I hope you all not enjoyed it, but enjoyed the message of the video. And make sure you like and comment, as it really helps me out a lot. I really do love each and every one of you that watches my videos, and I will see you next time. Bye.